The beginning, everything was in opposition to the Erdtree, but through countless victories in war, it became the embodiment of order. The Erdtree Knights are absolutely goated. From the Leyndell Knights who wield lightning to the tree sentinels they strive towards, the forces of Leyndell radiate pure Chad Paladin energy. Here's why. Full disclosure, this video is sponsored by the Erdtree government. I'll go back to the quote that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. It comes from the item description of the protection of the Erdtree incantation. The existence of the Erdtree must have come to a shock to those who were already there prior to its re-establishment from the primordial crucible. The ancient dragons, the fire giants, and the astrologers among them, all of whom would not end up liking this new Erdtree update very much. They were at war with the fire giants, ancient dragon Grandsack stormed the city, and Leyndell was at war with the sorcerers twice. But what I've recently come to admire about the soldiers of gold is that they either absorb their enemy's power or find ways to nullify it. Usually the latter comes first. I have so much I want to talk to regarding these absolute legends, so I'll start with this. The item description for the Golden Vow spell mentions how it will be taught among generations of knights, and they'd be used when they went out on expeditions. I think that's why we find a spell in the fringes of Mount Gelmir. Perhaps this might have been an unfortunate knight caught in the war against the blasphemers of Volcano Manor, or it could have belonged to a reconnaissance agent. After all, we see other knights on such expeditions. The first Leyndell knight you might meet is actually in the east side of Liurnia near the Artist's Shack. He casts lightning from his spear and attacks with a near unbreakable guard, forcing the Tarnished to wait for openings in his attacks. I struggle to find a reason why this particular Leyndell knight remains here after the union of Radagon and Marika essentially ended hostilities between the capital and the academy. Maybe he's monitoring the academy from afar, keeping an Erdtree presence with the elemental advantage of lightning. This is only a headcanon of mine, but I like to think that in this relative peacetime, the knight could have taken up painting as a hobby. The Artist's Shack is right there. It could have been his shack, you know? Back to the topic of exploring knights, I want to go on to how Leyndell's forces handled Grandsack's invasion. We know that they had developed golden lightning fortification in the wake of this attack, and we find it in Farum Azula. While, yes, it would be easy to conjure up defenses with a literal god by your side, and a giant tree giving you blessings left and right, I believe that the fact that they took their defenses with them to the land in the ancient dragons shows that they were not playing around. They went so hard that they did a complete 180, pulled an I have no enemies on Fortisacks, bagging land sacks in the process, and now all of a sudden, every soldier above E3 rank has lightning powers. Holy shit. Another group of ops the Erdtree found themselves with were the fire giants, who, being friends with the stargazing astrologers, really weren't a fan of this big, bright, piss-colored eyesore the humans called a quote-unquote tree. See, the fire giants worshipped a different god than the greater will, and people are always very civil when you worship a different god. Nah, just kidding. They killed them all, literally all of them, except one single fire giant who Marika cursed with immortality just to keep their flame up. But how did we get to this point? Marika realized that the fell god's flame on this kiln could burn the Erdtree. She wasn't having any of it. She decided to pull a dark forest on them. Better to keep that flame in check than to wake up one day with the tree burning. Hey, the tree is never gonna burn, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Those of you who have fought the fire giant know how unpleasant of an experience it can be. He rolls away from you to spam magic and then stomps on you when you actually get to his intended weak spot. I've been stuck on 2 fire giants on my double enemies rung for the longest time now, link in the description of part 1. Imagine fighting 50 of them. Marika had to gather up a team. We got the Zaymor Knights, who've been beefing with the fire giants since time immemorial, and the trolls, who were so self-aware of their height relative to the giants that they got stuck pulling chariots after the war. But the humans that ended up becoming the fire monks did so under Marika's command. To protect the Erdtree, they had to become fire giants themselves, becoming wardens of the flame of ruin, and using that very same flame as a weapon themselves. They developed incantations like Flame Grant Me Strength, Flame Cleanse Me, and Flame Protect Me to make use of and nullify the giant's flame, and developed skills like Giant Hunt and weapons like the Giant Crusher to stand toe-to-toe with them physically. They did the classic improvise, adapt, overcome strat to come to equal terms with their enemies, much like how some tree sentinels turned draconic after Grandsack's siege. And that adaptability that those loyal to the Erdtree display is something that I find really admirable. Sun Tzu said that if you know your enemy and know yourself, you will win 100% of the time, or something along those lines. Subscribe.